Two unemployed actors, two unemployed actors. They're just between projects.
Welcome back to Two Unemployed Actors. I'm Max.
I'm Sam.
And we've got a great show today talking about what directors want from actors, audition tips, and Sam is going to talk about casting, auditioning. Don't forget to subscribe on Facebook, Insta, and your favourite podcast platform. A shout out to listeners in Melbourne, LA, and Brampton, Ontario. Mm-hmm. There's one listener in Brampton, Ontario.
Wow.
I was looking at the stats and it came up down the bottom. Brampton, Ontario, one. So this is just for you, this moment.
They accidentally clicked on...
It doesn't show where you live, trust me. Like street address.
Counts. Yeah, it's like...
There you are looking at the Google camera. No.
They're like, oh, this is
so
good. Oh, no, not this
out.
One. Yeah.
I've been really impressed during the pandemic with, and there's not much to be impressed about during a pandemic, I've soon learned.
No.
You
need to explain. You can't leave it like that.
The local union, the Sydney or Australian Union, MEAA, the way they've sort of progressed to online has been really invaluable to everyone. Like,
yes.
Yesterday, it sort of culminated in a Q&A for an hour with Jessica Hobbs, who's a great director of Australian TV and now The Crown as well. The actor asking the questions is based in New Zealand. Jessica's in the UK. The audience is Australia, New Zealand. And it just went flawlessly, including questions from us for the last 20-odd minutes. Yeah, right. And I think, to get access to people like that normally, in the normal way of doing things, face-to-face, it was so much harder. And you'd end up with maybe in Sydney head office for 50 minutes of 50 people maximum, and that's about it. So I think there's a opportunity to continue with this sort of, Zooming online. Because it's Zooming. Zooming.
For those of you not watching on YouTube, Max he's added a cool dance move to his zooming.
It's the head zoom. On to Jessica. So we're talking about a director who's worked with Emily Watson on Apple Tree Yard. She directed The Crown. She came on board series 3. It was like a team of directors. Okay. A couple of episodes of Broadchurch.
Very cool.
And lots more.
Oh, she was on it.
She directed it.
She directed
as
a couple
director.
of. Oh wow.
Yes. Key things for me, what she wants from actors.
Yeah.
How she works with actors who have very different styles. And
flexibility.
Some audition tips as well, which is always good because, being up and coming actors, we're always going to ask, what can help us get cast?
Let's hear them.
First of all, can you imagine shooting and the pandemic's happened and suddenly she's gone from shooting on set one day to running around trying to organise remote editing facilities that can connect live to different hotel rooms and so they
pain
without losing bookable hours is straight into productive editing. It's like nightmare. The limited technology knowledge I have is enough to appreciate what that would entail.
Yeah, right.
And the same thing in the UK, in the industry suffering, freelancers falling through the gaps, the usual thing that's really affected the Australian industry in particular. And I know the American industry as well, where you've got, in some cases where you have some significant government support financially, you're sort of falling through the cracks a lot as freelancers and going from project to project. So it's not a happy place either. I am seeing news though of more productions getting ready to start.
Yes.
There's 18 to come to Oz. There's a whole lot for the UK.
Where did you see it on? The 18? Is that the screen?
It was in Variety. I read a Variety article. I signed up to their
cool.
newsletter, which is quite interesting. Every day I don't always get to it, but at the moment it's still a bit dire in the UK. I mean, like 40,000 people have died from the pandemic. Like,
I know.
It's so
UK
real.
is pretty bad.
It's so real.
It's so real.
It's so real. It's like it's more real. Like in Australia, it kind of like it feels weird because we're getting back to normal. Like the traffic's back to normal. Yeah. Everyone's
Australia
back at
feels
school.
like we're coming out of it, but everyone's got to remember this.
It's just the theatre. We're thinking maybe September for theatres, but even then, like how to fill it up, how to fill up a theatre with restrictions on space.
Oh, I think people's love for theatre will trump.
I know, but
that.
Regulatory-wise, you have to have 4 square metres around someone. True. Like you're going to end up with 1/3 theatres full. So I think it might be the end of the year before we can have full theatres. And as we know, like indie theatres, they need to be like 100% full to make money.
Yes.
It's gonna be interesting. But anyway, on to Jessica Hobbs. So she's got a reputation as being an actor's director. So that's someone who is really good at understanding an actor's needs and being able to relate what's required to an actor, which is great. She actually said she gets some directors asking her, get this, question for directors she gets the most, how do I get the actors to do what I want them to do?
Oh, God.
That whole question is the problem. You can't. It's like how you work with them to get the best out of them in
Yeah.
the scene
Yeah.
for the best of your, project. I love that question. That
That's
just
a good
says, yeah, you're on your own, mate.
As actors, we need direction, right? If you give us complete freedom, we'll be like, I don't know we'll be chasing our tails. We won't know what to do. But you go too far. It's got to be a balance. You go too far, and we're like, how the do you want us to do that?
Exactly.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well,
so you need that balance, I guess.
Here's some tips from her on how the expectations sort of start at the casting, really.
Yeah.
Like, how do you work? And if you're polar opposite to how the lead works, or for example, and you're up and coming at a walk-on part,
right.
This is how the leads likes to work. How's that going to fit with you? Blah blah, and that's sort of how it sort of settles out. So a bit more about the process and what's going to happen.
Sure.
And if you've got a more immediate character, and you're the lead, well, hey, it's going to be more about the tone of the film and what you think. It's more, and she prefers a more one-on-one, more intimate.
Yeah.
Sort of dialogue where there's other people around, so they can sort of really gel, and she'll pick up some ideas. And
I've seemed to come across more directors like that with more student films,
right?
Which tells me that they're obviously being taught that as well at the institutions that they're educating themselves at.
I think,
I think it's more. I have no doubt there's heaps of directors out there who aren't students, but I think it must be becoming more of a modern thing to try and understand from the actor's point of view, as well as the actor trying to understand from the director's point of view. But then you work together. Like a lot. There are times like where I've done some student short films where the director will be like, "What do you want out of this?" I love that, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. Tell me what I want. I'll freaking do it. I think it's awesome.
Because I think you certainly should turn
so
up on
good.
set, and you've got what your character wants.
Yeah,
you know
they'll
what
ask you a lot.
You know what you're supposed to be doing, and you've got ideas.
Yeah.
You come prepared.
Yeah.
As Jessica would say, you come prepared with these options to bring.
Right.
As a more experienced actor, whereas more newer actors turn up and sort of, she'll then spend time with them going through. Okay, well, how are you prepared for this? How are you warming up? Don't forget the given circumstances, what your character wants emotionally.
Yeah. But it's great.
And also spend more time with an experienced actor on blocking.
You then get the opportunity to be able, hopefully, it seems like with Jessica, that you get the opportunity as an actor to then challenge the director's view a little bit. If you disagree with a point that they make about the character that you're going to play, you're like, well, my version of the character, this is what I think. Tell me if you like it. Yep. I don't think they would do this in this scenario.
Yeah, I think it's just building layers.
I think that's really cool.
You're building layers onto it.
I think that's part of. I think that is part of the rehearsal process. The rehearsal process shouldn't just be going through the steps of the scene. It should be rehearsing with the director, trying to figure out what best and what is most interesting to portray for your character. That's part of the process, and that's awesome. Like for Not Today, I got a call from Mitch, the director for that, but like a week or two before, and spoke about our character. I hadn't even met him yet, and that's awesome. Like you get to then throw your ideas out there and know what they want, so then you can then fit your own view into what they want for their film.
I think there's no magic to it. It's the hard work of the preparation. You're right, and the better projects I've worked on for output have been the ones where the director has had a conversation and we're thrashing out the character on the journey. When it comes to a rehearsal day, even with a student film, having a rehearsal day, and the ones that have been amazing for me are the ones where we've had time to do a rehearsal day. We can then thrash out a bit more of the bits and pieces, the nuts and bolts, and then by the time you're turning up on set, you absolutely know what the director wants. You know the director's vision for the story, for the character in that story. You know what you think, and you're just more prepared. You can relax a bit more by doing so much preparation. Then allows you to be a bit more freer in the moment. Yeah,
and then not waste as many people's time.
Another
the production
tip
teams.
that Jessica mentioned was sometimes when it gets to a bit of a flow, like your line, my line, your line, my line, and you've been filming all day. She might have a whisper into the other actor's ear and say, "I want you to turn your back at this point in the conversation," or "I want you just to get up and walk towards the other side of the room." Just to suddenly, when that happens.
Or not tell the other actor.
No.
Beautiful.
So suddenly, when that happens, everyone's engaged. Everyone's switched on. There's electricity in the room. Like, what?
Like, this wasn't what it was before.
Exactly. And it reminds me of what Julia Garner said when she talked about her character having a pivotal scene in Ozark. You turn up, you know what the blocking is. You've gone through that in rehearsals. So when I step here, I should be saying this line. I know where the camera's going to be. Like, you know all that stuff. So you can turn up and take it to another level, like slapping the desk, which made it into the cut. And that was in the moment.
Yeah.
And which then got Helen to react a bit more. And then they just kind of went up. And just by doing so much preparation in the right way at the front end allows you to be able to be more in the moment and bring special sauce.
You then have that flexibility and that creativity to then completely go off what you've learnt, but still feel comfortable.
And it seems to be reinforced by what Jessica was saying. She sometimes likes to see what happens in the scene. She likes to roll with it a bit. It's like she's happy to say if someone goes, look, I don't know, what are we doing here? What's the what? She's happy to say, I don't know. This is new. I'm just going to try it, let it play out. Yeah. And then we can work out exactly precisely where we want the cameras to be. She sounds like a
dream director. Jesus
I know. That's
Christ.
why the reputation of actors director is solid.
Yeah.
You know, a scene can suddenly become a more important one than previously thought by her letting it evolve through a take.
Okay.
And then understanding how to move the cameras or how to focus a bit more or suddenly someone's monologue is just a bit more edgy and important by doing it this way.
Yeah, okay.
And also practical stuff like, look, there's too much light in the window. Do you mind just stepping away from the window? And we do, you know, like
very cool.
bits and pieces like that.
I think rehearsal process as well, going back a bit on that for screen, I think it's seen as less important as rehearsals, say, for theatre. Because 80% of 90% of, you know, the work that goes into a theatre show is the rehearsal process. You do that for months.
It's a big commitment.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Unless you're on like Broadway where you then do it for months as well. It's then kind of half. But it's a big process. And even though there's a lot less time spent on rehearsals for screen than the actual shooting, I think it's equally as important. Yeah. So then you can get to set and know exactly what you're doing and feel comfortable, because then now you've got all these other things. You've got cameras, because then the director can, be flexible with you, but also then focus on everyone who isn't there in the rehearsal room, as in the cinematographer and like everyone else there. So I think it can be underrated sometimes for screen, because it's not. Yeah. You're like,
and
rehearsal. Like,
and generally,
exactly.
when it is underrated, it's by people who don't have the experience, who need the rehearsal time more. Like when I lean on some of the student films I've done, again, the better ones were ones where we had time for rehearsal. Yeah. And they were thinking about camera placement, how to set up for the shot, and so when they turned up, they had because that's the one thing that takes so much time when it comes to student films. Yeah. It's the setting up. They've got the vision. It's how do I get the technical to be able to bring that vision that's quite specific to life. And they've got more of an idea because they've been practicing it in rehearsal than if they were to turn up and we'll set up for this shot. No, we'll set up, and everyone's got an idea, and suddenly it just becomes a 4-hour setup, and it's still not quite what they envisaged. Yeah. So even then, like a rehearsal is so important because you don't have the experience. You've never done that type of shot before.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, going back quickly to Jessica's point about lines going back and forth. Maybe it's getting a bit routine and a bit tiring. Actually, I watched an Aaron Sorkin kind of breakdown of Aaron Sorkin's writing. You know Aaron Sorkin. Yep. I assume.
I do. The Newsroom,
The Social Network, which I didn't know.
Jessica Chastain, when she did a Q&A at a premiere of a movie in Australia, talked about working with Aaron and how simple, 2-handers can be 10 pages. A 2-minute conversation
so I was watching,
between two people is like 10 pages of script.
So I was watching down his breakdown. So him, as opposed to a lot of other screenwriters, doesn't have that many action lines, like character does this. Not that many, mostly just dialogue. No breaks in between, just dialogue. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he says writing, like hearing my script or writing the script, it isn't like music to my ears. It literally is music to my ears. So he writes in a way that's almost rhythmic. Like if you look at the length of each character's line, it will be like a pattern. It'll be like a rhythmic pattern, and that's how he stops it from being boring. So in this particular video, they used an example from The Social Network. I don't know if you've seen it, but yeah.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I remember talking to... she's in Succession. My goodness. When I saw her at St. Joan, she did a Q&A with an acting school here in Australia, and she was in the Social Network movie.
Oh, okay.
Sarah Snook. Yes, Sarah Snook was in the Social Network.
Very cool.
Plays the assistant.
So Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin. Let's go.
So he's like, they used a specific scene as an example from the Social Network. They the first scene, the opening scene, which is like that breakup scene between Mark Zuckerberg character, who's played by Jesse Eisenberg. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg, who plays Mark Zuckerberg.
It's been a while since I've seen the movie.
Yes. So him and I don't know the other actress, but she looks familiar. They're having this scene, and she'll have a long bit of dialogue, and then Jesse will say a short one, and then she'll say an even shorter one, and then Jesse will say the same length one again, and then a long one, and then it will be like a pattern like that, which keeps it interesting, and it's fast paced. So Aaron Sorkin, he'll get through this scene in 5 minutes, but it's 10 pages.
Do you remember the newsroom story I told about Jeff Daniels and how people turn up unprepared?
Yes.
In the dressing room, they're trying to learn the script of the last day, and it's an Aaron Sorkin script. Aaron Sorkin, the newsroom, and it's like they're in there literally in makeup just before, trying to learn the script.
Yeah.
And he's
It's
like,
so
they
long.
just don't get it because you'll be going for it, blah, 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 each have a go. And then they'll be like, great, that's great. That's probably about 60%. Let's take it up to 80. And then it's just faster.
The snappy,
Okay, let's take it up to 100%. And if you're not prepared, you die. You
Yeah.
literally die.
And-
Because the first AD said to Jeff, oh, look, he's not all over the script, this day player. He's asked to use the auto cue and put the lines up behind you. And that's when Jeff Daniels said, I want you to write, welcome to the newsroom. That's all he had to look at when he didn't know his lines. Like, you've got to be prepared. But particularly when you've got to know, and being prepared isn't just being off book. It's knowing who the director is so you know what to expect. Jessica Chastain said that it's an incredible feeling to be in the middle of a scene written by Aaron Sorkin and you're on it, you're on the dialogue, you're on everything, and there's intuitive decisions being made as well, and it's just happening so quickly. It's kind of like this roller coaster. But when it's right, it's spot on and everything just flows and it's perfect. But it requires a lot of preparation to get right.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's interesting. So she's happy to sort of see what happens with the scene, to kind of roll with it. I think when it comes to working with different types of actors, the example she used was from The Crown, where you've got Olivia Colman, who likes to be a bit more intuitive in her decisions and talks about the emotion of that character
Olivia
in that
Colman.
moment.
She's great.
Yeah, the moment and less of the details and less of, the set falling quiet as she walks up and there's 1,000 people. It's more about the emotion within that particular scene.
Yeah.
Whereas Tobias will be like, the history, the detail, when I walk and I look this certain way and the camera's over there, and so he's very much centered. And then you've got Helena Bonham Carter, who is
she's
sounds
great
like a
as well.
squirrel. She's all over, and one moment she had a heart attack because in the middle of the scene she kicked off her shoes, going, I feel like the character should just not wear shoes at the moment. She's like quietly dying, going, oh my God, we've filmed for 4 hours. Pulls her aside, we can't do that, but we can do this, that sort of stuff. So you've got total intuition going, I know the script inside and out. Think I can make these wild choices. Wait a minute, I'm happy to experiment. So you've got the emotion, the detail, and the experiment. Very different.
I love that.
And they're in the production together. And that's where she'll particularly say to people in the casting process, well, you're going to be in a lot of scenes with Olivia. This is how she works. As if she's going to change how the environment works for someone who's on for 3 episodes But it was really interesting. So she's careful who casts coming in with that actor and prepares them for how the actor wants to work. So they're okay with it. And because she grew up watching and loves still today watching lots of theatre, she's happy just to let it all run.
This is Jessica still?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let it all play out.
Yeah.
And then to see how then to get the best out of the actors, whether it's simply changing the blocking. So how to get the most out of the actors can be as simple as through the blocking, to bring it to life a bit more, just by watching it flow to see how the scene sort of is clunky in places or works.
Sure.
So it's really interesting because she certainly has very different actors.
Very cool.
in The Crown. And I think, look, she came in for series 3 and she said each episode, it's like directing a feature film. Every episode. And you've got to be very careful about, or very confident about your choices. You've got to know, because if you want to try something like that, can have it available for you. It's there, it's done.
I can see how much pressure is on the directors, for this stuff.
What she wants actors to know, be prepared, And do you want to
Oh, I
play
thought you were saying get prepared. A bit like be prepared. Here we go.
Yep. Do you want to play the role as the story is written, or did you hope to sort of have some other idea?
Okay.
And it's an opportunity to open up and sort of talk about opportunities for the character. What we touched on earlier about, those early conversations, so that before you get to rehearsals, you know where you want to be, and the director's fine with it. Hopefully.
Very cool. Yeah.
Casting. She does a lot of small theatres, loves to find people in small theatres and see what's happening. Other actors as well can refer other up-and-coming actors and, casting agents, but she doesn't mind even seeing stuff sent directly to her. And then...
So did you watch... Was this a Zoom thing or what was it?
Yes, so this is through the MEAA, an hour with Zoom. So she's in the UK. It was breakfast and it was like 5 p.m. last night.
It was breakfast.
Because that's important.
Yep.
Just
of course, most important being
actually
of the
on the
day.
other side of the world. We touched on this earlier, directing actors experienced versus new. And this can give you some insight into how you approach as an up-and-coming actor versus one with hours under your belt.
Sure.
She prefers to, and this is again why she's an actor's director, sit down with a new actor and just work through some more script analysis with them to make sure they appreciate the given circumstances, what the journey of the character and all the stuff that she could go, yeah, that actor's going to nail it. And I know that actor's going to turn up and just be prepared.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'll spend more time with an up-and-coming actor, particularly on blocking as well, because they'll just do whatever you tell them to. She's like, they'll do whatever. They'll be eager to please. I want you to stand there. We're going to shoot over there. The camera's over here. You walk over there and say that. Okay. And they'll do exactly that. Take after take after take.
Yeah.
So it's more of, well, why do you think the character would move there? Why?
Yeah.
Why would they, to bring them back into the character's view rather than doing because the director told them to?
Because you don't generally move in real life if you don't have a motive,
Exactly. And it's easy for this stuff that we know to get lost when you're on set.
Yeah,
and the
100%.
director's massive director and you've got A-list and just walk this way, do this, do that. Yep. I can see myself doing it.
Yeah, no, me too.
And then also more time with the new actor on set to make sure the prep is done, but also to help them through that journey.
Yeah.
Like arriving, because experienced actors, they'll arrive and she'll know they'll arrive with lots of options. But let's get to the house that this character's supposed to live in before a lot of other people and get the actor comfortable. Maybe there's a conversation with the art department to bring a certain prop in to help them feel like it's more like home, or you know what I mean, to get them comfortable in the moment, and then talk about the character in the character's home. So a little bit extra just to help an actor feel more comfortable. But again, it's the goal of getting the best performance out of everyone there. The most experienced actor, the new actor, the actors who work very differently to one another, the choices you've made with the art department, and the conversations you've had early on with department leads. It's all about getting the best out of the project. And it really hit home. It's just so much gelled with me during the conversation.
Yeah, right.
Really interesting stuff. I would have happily chatted away for another hour if I could, but not the proper thing to do when it's an hour meeting and there's 60 other people on the call.
Yes.
I could try and ask, but but I'm definitely going to give feedback to the union, because I'd love to see this stuff continue, even in a pando-free world, a pandemic-free world.
How did you hear about?
So, are you a member of the union?
Yeah, maybe I delete the email.
First of all, make sure you're a member of the MEAA.
I am.
And then make sure you're on the mail list. Make sure you check their website regularly, because this stuff is free.
Yeah.
You put your hand up and say, yeah. Like last week, it was a voiceover coach.
Yeah.
The week before that was a casting director. And this is free stuff from the comfort of my little studio desk here.
Yeah, that's very good.
Are you a member of ACTA?
Like a proper.
Like an affiliate member of ACTA?
No, because it's expensive, not yet. But I will.
Yeah.
Be.
So that's the next step. It is expensive, but I've got to say, it's valuable. It's really valuable. Yeah. Because you get so much more. Like, I know it's a bit more difficult. You've got to have a credit,
yes,
conversations, that sort of,
that's the next
to be industry in. But when you are, it's amazing the benefit of some of the functions I've attended.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
ACTA. And no matter where you are, what's your first step? The local union, to sort of see what's going on and what's happening work-wise and find out a bit more, and opportunities to connect. and then an industry affiliation.
Sure.
Whether you're here or in the US or England, it's the same approach.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the stuff I'm talking about on the podcast is from these types of functions. I've learnt so much, and everyone's working in the industry at the moment. It's so relevant.
Right. Yeah.
It's not nothing against
No, I
those
see how
professors
it's-
or so who have taught because they were on stage once.
Yeah. No, I
in the
see
40s.
how it could be.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No. Quick thing, talking about rehearsal process and the importance of that.
Yes.
We were learning how to, at Grants, we were learning the audition process. So obviously first step with coronavirus, especially, but even just because it's the modern world, you send a self-tape in first, and if they like you, then you come in. But when you get in there, there's a process, obviously, and before you even start your scene, you go name, age, agent, what's your experience? So you're like, yeah, Sam Folden, 20 years old, my agent is Mark Eden at Eaton Management, and then you do, and then it's like, what they'll ask you, or like, what is your experience on set, or something. You don't even know what the question is going to be, but you have to be prepared to not only be confident, but interesting.
Yes.
And, you don't want to come in timid. And this is what we're learning.
You've got to be relatable, because these are people that they've got to give a tick on.
Yeah,
who
and
are going to be working with a large group of people for a long time.
And it's so hard. For a lot of actors, not many actors love the audition process. It's a very intimidating and nerve-wracking thing.
It can be,
But also, you just got to be... The basis that I took out of it is that you need to be unapologetically yourself. You can't go in there being like, please like me, because that will come off as that. And so, if you're unapologetically yourself,
there's only one of you, so you've got a competitive advantage already.
And you got to be confident about that. And if they like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. And you got to be like, I don't care if they hate me. That's up to them. I'm going to be like me and confident about it. And because I got in there and I was all like, hi, my name's Sam Folden, I'm 20 years old, and it feels a bit, I can't even replicate it here because I'm not nervous here. But in that, we were just at Grants, but he set it up like an audition process.
Yep.
And then you get the adrenaline. It's like, I'm in the audition room, it's got this, and you're like, oh, acting mode. And then that just gets you in that mindset, which isn't great. And you just got to know what you're going to say to a lot of the questions that are asked. Because, if they're watching 300 of those, you could have a director that doesn't even see your actual audition and just sees your introduction and be like, no, he's not right. Just from the fact that you weren't confident or whatever, And so, and then you got to come in with an interesting choice for your scene as well.
Yeah, of course.
Stand out. So there's a bunch of that, and we're learning that and we're working on that. And I am just I come out of some of those lessons with Grant so frustrated sometimes, which is good. I think that fuels me.
He's good at shaking things up, absolutely, which you need every now and then. Keep you out of the comfort zone.
And I think that fuels me to get better, and I need that because I don't just want to, like many actors, and I'm no way thinking I'm the only one, of course. But I want to get there.
Yeah,
I want to be one of the greats.
And it's worth mentioning too.
It's very hard.
While we're talking about auditioning, there's different ways too. Like at the moment, I think we're seeing a lot of television commercials opening up again, a lot of briefs coming through, and sort of looking for real people, real couples, real families, because you can shoot with everyone interacting and being close together. And now a lot of briefs turning up like they used to. And a TVC casting is so different. You get such little time in the room.
Yeah.
And you turn up and they've got the seats all, 1.5 meters away, blah, blah, blah. There's still self-tapes as much as there were in the past, but there's a lot of get them in and, we'll go from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 2 days in the week and just see as many as we can to then make the right recommendation. Versus, for television film, like you're talking about. And then, for the stage where generally you've probably got a bit more time. Yeah. A bit more time to talk about, your experiences in the theatre and what motivates you as an actor and all that sort of stuff, which is great.
Yeah, exactly.
These opportunities don't come along every day, which is why it's so important. You're right, Sam, to be prepared for them, because you don't want to be walking out going, oh, why didn't I do this? It's like, okay, I did the best I could. I was as prepared as I could be.
Yeah.
What's next?
And it takes time to learn that. And I've got to keep in my mind that I'm still 20 years old. I've got a lot of time to go. Shouldn't rush it. And I have a habit of trying to rush to get there. And, you just got to learn.
Look, motivation, ambition is great.
Yeah, just don't rush.
You harness it in the right way,
Definitely.
Well, that's good. Grant's really having a positive effect on you.
He's great. I think I've got a good system going.
So you had a casting at McGregor, did you?
No. So I have a casting coming up. So
When's that?
Well, it's self-tape. Self-tape first. So it's
When's that? When you have to send the self-tape in?
This Friday. So this Friday, it's for a TV series in Byron Bay.
Nice location.
So we got a script, learning it. We're going to him tomorrow instead of Friday to record it and get it done, and just send it in. I just hope I'm going to put all the info I know.
Do the best you can, be as prepared.
It's just so hard,
the best way is just act like you're going to walk in and that's the audition.
Yeah.
And that way you give your best, and then from that he can then take you up to another level.
We picked a very hard career. But,
it has its benefits, has its challenges. Sometimes the challenges make it really good.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Exactly.
The more you work at it. It's like what Jessica was saying. The more prep you do, the more you can be free in the moment and make those choices that bring it all together.
Okay. Also, Mark put me forward for an Xbox commercial.
Hey.
Big one. Like, it would be a big one. Not sure if I got it. I don't think I did, but it would be like it was nice. for a swimmer role, but like they'd get a wave pool studio and stunt people.
Fun.
For
as long as the water's warm.
It would be,
my experience from Flipper. Yeah, as long as the pool's warm.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. And although the industry's quiet-ish, there's still things happening.
Yeah, it's great. It's starting to feel like, certainly from a screen perspective, it's getting back to normal. From the stage, it's just on pause.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Pause.
And pause.
It's
I think I'm good. Have you got anything else?
I'm good. Fred, you good? You got anything else to put in, mate? No, you just look at the camera. Thanks for tuning in. Another fantastic episode. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm Max.
I'm Sam.
And Two Unemployed Actors will be back with you next week. Bye.
See ya.
Two unemployed actors.